Tucker Carlson, true journalist, socialist apparently, had on a lawyer for the January 6th rioters, a guy named Joseph McBride. And look, I wouldn't put it past the FBI for being agent provocateurs. I'm quite convinced they do that for a lot of protests. I think it's harder for me to believe that they're doing this necessarily on the January 6th protest, although I certainly hope, and there's been a history of the FBI trying to infiltrate right-wing extremist groups. I would certainly hope that they're getting intel. I would certainly hope that they have informants in these places. But I think it would be problematic if the FBI was involved in instigating the storming of the Capitol. But this theory exists out there, and we've got ace journalist Tucker Carlson on the beat. Here he is on his program with this lawyer.
For coming on. So first, we'll break this in half. The first part of the story is the people who are on tape encouraging illegality, which is itself a crime, who have not been charged. What is tonight the status on that as of tonight?
After months of investigation, Tucker, these people still have not been charged. We have multiple people on the ground, 4 in particular that we have identified. Let me just call one of these people out. Somebody who was tagged on the internet by sedition hunters and Capitol hunters as Redface45. This is a person who is dressed in Trump gear, in MAGA gear. He's covered in red from head to toe. His face is painted MAGA red. He's got a Trump hat on, a Keep America Great Again hat on. Yet he is clearly a law enforcement officer. He interacts with uniformed personnel. He interacts with agents in the crowd. He passes up weapons, sledgehammers, poles, mace. Some of those things come into contact with other protesters who have subsequently been charged with possessing dangerous weapons and or using dangerous weapons at the Capitol. That is clearly entrapment. That is clearly the government creating conditions of dangerousness and entrapping members of the crowd to possess weapons and possibly use them for reasons that we cannot comprehend.
Wow. Wait, may I interrupt you right there? Why is it so difficult? Let's put his picture back on the screen. Why is it so difficult in an age of facial recognition? This is the largest dragnet in the history of American justice for one Republican member of Congress to force an answer. Who is this person? Why hasn't he been charged? That's a very simple ask. Why hasn't it been delivered?
That is a great question. And if you're a Republican congressman or a Democrat congressman or an independent congressperson listening tonight, I implore you, I encourage you to dig into this and to help us, because our democracy and our way of life is at stake. It is on the chopping block right now. And unless you fulfill your oath to your constituents and to your country to step up and to do the right thing here, then our democracy will be lost. There is no doubt about it. You have to help us.
Yeah, we have an absolute right to know exactly who this person is, at least the other 3 who are encouraging violence.
Now, what's amazing is this lawyer has really done his work here. And clearly, as they say, this guy was a law enforcement officer. He was, and he was all dressed in red with his red face. Oh, well, it turns out, as reported by Huffington Post, it turns out that the agent provocateur is a big Tucker Carlson fan, and apparently the red face, he's an amateur St. Louis Cardinals mascot. So that was not MAGA red as much as it was Cardinals red.
What is an amateur mascot?
It's a self-appointed mascot. You're not getting paid, but right. You're showing up at the ball games, or apparently he does this outside the stadium and does some mascotting.
He's like Fireman Ed, but
yeah. According to HuffPost, he's Rally Runner is his name. Is somewhat of a local celebrity in St. Louis. A photo of him was featured in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch on October 2013 when the Cardinals reached the World Series. The man, who did not provide a name, told the paper his running, as he runs around with red face, He sprints around the outside of Busch Stadium during home games. And according to, incidentally, his Facebook posts, he appears to have a fairly difficult life and a tenuous relationship with reality, and he's a huge Tucker Carlson fan.
That's redundant.
Yeah, he told the paper that his running strengthens the spirit for the Cardinals to get the energy to win. Apparently, they also lost to the Sox that year. So.
Wow, he wasn't sprinting. He wasn't sprinting hard enough.
In 2016, he told St. Louis Magazine that running around the stadium was spiritual, that his memory is horrible, and that he'd like to publish his journal as a book. And he apparently got swept up in that thing. But the best part is apparently HuffPo called the lawyer to get his response. McBride was contacted by HuffPost and informed about the man's actual identity. And at first, McBride stuck with his claim. I don't believe that at all, he said at first. Amateur mascot or not, we maintain our position. So this guy's in deep, deep cover, right? I mean, for almost 9 years, he's been at least amateur mascot of the Cardinals so that he can infiltrate a future insurrection at the MAGA rally. Of course. He says, HuffPost asked how firm McBride was in his suggestion that Rally Runner was an undercover member of law enforcement. And he goes, I'm just as firm as the government is in suggesting that my clients are domestic terrorists, he said. If they're going to throw out terms like that, then we have no problem throwing out the counter term, none whatsoever. Now, I don't know if there's been a reporter from any type of online outfit that has completely discredited the government's claims in terms of who these people are. But that's what just happened to McBride, as HuffPost went into more detail explaining why the idea that Rally Runner was some sort of undercover law enforcement agent was absurd. McBride shifted a bit. He said his job was to defend his client and he didn't need to be, quote, right in everything he claimed.
That is super telling, I think, because you see Steven Crowder get on this adjunct provocateur narrative too, and guess what? If there's a story and it breaks that there's adjunct provocateur, we will cover it here. But
without a doubt.
And the only time that they will use it is when they're trying to, they're playing defense attorney for, basically, right-wing terrorists. Because guess what? Red Fawn Fallis was served time for Dakota Access Pipeline for a gun planted on her by a FBI informant. None of these people, have any sort of notion of that story because they don't care about it.
Yep. He wrote, he said, if I'm wrong, so be it, bro. I don't care, said McBride. I don't give a shit about being wrong.
Whoa.
McBride said he was simply, quote, theorizing things and not publishing conclusive findings. He said his appearance on Carlson's show were part of an effort to combat the narrative being given out by about his January 6th clients. If this guy turns out to be some guy who runs around the Cardinal Stadium with his face painted, then that's great. If that's the truth, then so be it. God bless America. Now look. This lawyer is out there. He's a scumbag. He's trying to, defend his clients by creating lies that would bolster his case. And then, obviously that falls apart. But what's really sort of grotesque is that the most watched cable host in America gave this guy a platform, presumably has some, reporting mechanisms at his disposal, seeing as how he is the highest rated show on Fox News, which presumably has reporters and producers who could go out and try and identify this guy. Apparently the HuffPost people were able to do it. And apparently anybody in St. Louis might also be aware of who this guy was. But Tucker had no interest in that. Now, I'm sure there was a correction. Can we play that?
It's not on the sheet, Sam.
Oh, well, I'm sure there'll be one tonight. I'm sure he'll do it tonight. And say, well, we sort of made that up and didn't bother to, fact check.
And not publishing on our giant cable news TV.
And we still don't have definitive evidence that he was not a sleeper agent or sleeper for that many years. So why issue a correction before we have all the facts?
Maybe he was investigating the Cardinals hacking stuff that cost him a couple draft picks a few years ago, and then he just got redeployed to Gen 6 stuff.
I mean, that works. Unbelievable. Not unbelievable. Cancel that.
I wonder if he thought like his running powers will help the coup succeed.
I was about to say, like, someone get this guy to Washington D.C. and he can do his
run around the Capitol,
sprint outside of Langley to get your comrades free.
You need some for the spirit to pep people up. He's the perfect guy you want for a coup.